Hey everyone, Genome here, coming at you with a kind of a new idea for a video series, and that's the speculation on team videos. And this is not so much to speculate, which ones that Scopes really has in their sights for releasing soon. You know, we kind of got the idea what's going on, like it's a mutant fiesta right now. But there's a lot of teams out there that are right on the cusp of being great, and I think with the addition of like one new either really strong character or legendary character, they could actually live up to the greatness that they are capable of. So the team I want to talk about today is right here above me on the screen, and that is none other than the Supernatural team. Supernatural team is one of those teams that is exceptionally fun to play, but extremely frustrating because they are just missing something. Now, there's a couple different things that are missing here. Probably the first and foremost, though, is some sort of mitigation or protection. The only mitigation that you really have on this team, of course, is a little bit of self-healing from like Mordo's passive and some deflects that Dr. Strange throws up on himself, right? On opposite team buffs. I'm not including Scarlet Witch because I never used her in the team, but yeah, that's about it. And that and them like trying not to kill Ghost Rider or whatever. For when he dies, he throws out a bunch of good stuff, but if he dies, the teams are gone anyway. So this team is just missing something, and they're not even that great on war offense. They should be. Like, they're supposed to be able to take care of Asgardians and all that, and it's rare to even win a punch-up against like Asgardians, right? That's an old team. So they need something. So I thought I'd put together a little speculation on which characters could be used to make them actually work. Now, all that being said, I'm pretty satisfied with everybody except for Scarlet Witch, right? I really love, especially Elsa. Elsa's probably got my favorite kit in the whole team. I love her kit. It's a very creative design, and I like the character. She does pretty good damage. And, of course, the main trifecta of Doctor Strange, Mordo, and Ghost Rider is what actually makes the team work. So, really, if you want to get down to it, there's probably 2 available slots with the Elsa and Scarlet Witch slot. But I will say this, you need some damage on this team. Otherwise, you're just milking that cow way too long on a cold morning. So, I hate to lose Elsa. So, I'm going to really focus on just replacing Scarlet Witch with one character. So, let's go ahead and get into it. Now, I'm going to bring up some names from the actual comics that probably are unknown to most of the designers of this game. They seem to focus on new stuff or huge characters, but don't give much attention to some of the more periphery characters. One of the other criteria I have here is they need to be either mystical or supernatural, that sort of thing in the comics, so it just makes sense thematically with this team. So, let's get into it. First, maybe in the role of a protector, let's go with Puma. Puma is a Native American basically turned into a bad guy, almost like a vengeful spirit kind of thing, but not really. He got all furry, he got superpowers. He's just a really strong character, right? Not seen too much in the comics, but he was a pretty powerful character. Not broken level. We're not talking like Thanos or anything like that, but he was pretty strong. So if he could be some sort of hybrid damage dealer tank, think like Juggernaut, I think it would work pretty well for the team. And he's basically mystical, more so than supernatural. The next one I'm going to go with is Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin was basically a bastardized version of the Green Goblin, and he turned demonic and all that. It's a long story. Suffice it to say, he's pretty powerful in his Hobgoblin form, right? Mystical fire, pumpkin bombs, and all that stuff. And he thinks he's a good guy, too, which would actually kind of work for the team. But the team's really a mix of like good and bad characters, so I'm not going to so much worry about villains or hero tags, something like that. So that could work. Hobgoblin was pretty insane, but I don't know if he would be in a protector role or some sort of... I think of him more as like a buff stealer. If you think like Green Goblin stripping the buffs, I'm thinking like Hobgoblin could do fire splash damage that, steals the buffs for the team. That sort of thing, So he could be hybrid damage support character. I think would work kind of well. Plus he'd have a cool character model, I think. Another one is Grim Reaper. Grim Reaper was the brother of Wonder Man, actually, and he's basically immortal. He's not super powerful, but you can't really kill him. So I think he can make some sort of interesting tank, almost like in a Greg-like way. Like, as long as there's like 3 supernatural on the field, he just reses himself again. I think that would be cool. Or he keeps resing himself in a weaker and weaker form, something like that. But I think that'd be kind of interesting. He has a real supernatural bend to him. Another one would be Sphynx. Sphynx was a character that was pretty powerful in the New Warriors sagas of the old ones, and she has time manipulation, energy projection. She's got the whole smorgasbord, and she of course ties in with the whole Ra and Egypt thing. So that's definitely a mystical kind of aspect and could work well. She could work well as an energy redirector, or maybe like even a Thanos tank. Think of him in his empowered form, but not quite as like juggernautish, not as powerful. So there's another option right there. Another one would be Blackheart. Blackheart was the son of Mephisto and upon the Earth, and he has his own bents for global domination. So I think it would work kind of well for him trying to defy Ultimus, right? He joins the supernatural team just so he can rule the world himself, and he's going to use the other people around him. He's very manipulative, just like his father was. So pretty strong character too. I mean, maybe he have darkness powers. I don't know what the case may be, but just something to take the heat off the rest of the supernatural team, right? So Blackheart's another option. Another one which could have dual tags would be interesting. Would be Mystic and maybe even supernatural, but also Asgardian. That'd be Enchantress. Enchantress was an extremely powerful sorceress in Asgard, and she could probably fit on the team somewhere. I would think of her as like maybe making one of the other teams come over your side for a turn or two and fight for you. That'd be kind of her thing, mesmerizing people, So I think that could be an interesting way of getting around the whole protector problem, or at least taking the edge off, like, or making the other character on the other team just attack its own characters for like 1 or 2 turns, something like that. It helps take the pressure off of supernatural, let them get rolling. And finally, there's going to be a trifecta of ideas here, and they're all vampire characters. Okay, the first one would be like Blackout, the second one would be like Morbius, and the third would be the actual Dracula from like the 70s comics, right? A lot of people talk about Blade, but I really think these guys would fit better. They're all supernatural. Some of them are scientifically created, but they're all true vampires. They got to drink blood, right? So I think they could put institute some sort of drain mechanic. Think like symbiote Spider-Man to the whole team, whatever. They have some sort of blood magic. I'm envisioning like, and because this goes with Ghost Rider too, like anyone with a bleed, anytime a bleed goes off on the other side, it heals him, or it heals that vampire character. You could even do the trio, but that'd be really strong, right? That'd be kind of interesting. And Blackout definitely has some tanking ideas, because you can maybe make something like a passive of his, like, or when he's taunting, like other characters have 50% hit chance, something like that. Kind of goes with his thematic theme, because he like dampens all light that's around him. Usually artificial, but whatever. And Dracula's like the king of the vampires. He's super strong. He has mesmerism. I'm sure he could do some remote blood draws and drains. Lots of drains would be good for him. And he can go into bat form, something like that, disperse, damage, something like that with a fog or something. So those three have a lot of potential to be some sort of either protector or at least great support character on the supernatural team. So I think all those, which are pretty normal. Sphynx is pretty high up there actually in the power level. She might be a little beyond this, but they would all go really well on a normal team. Now, I also want to talk about some possible legendaries that would work very well, I think, on Supernatural. And the only reason I didn't really include them in the main line there is because these beings are so powerful. It would be difficult to find a reason for them to be fighting with Supernatural. But we'll say maybe the Ultimus is trying to take over the mystical realms too, or they read his mind and they find out he's coming for them next once he gets enough heroes. So they decide to join the cause in a weaker Earthbound avatar, right? That's from Sidorak, by the way. So here's 3 choices I'm thinking could work as either legendary characters or pseudo-legendary, thinking the terms of Ghost Rider. First one, of course, would be Dormammu. Some people actually might know him from the movies, but he has his own, basically, dark dimension that he's lord and master of, and he's a super powerful cosmic entity, or more like actually mystical, supernatural entity is what he is. Most of the supernatural characters in this game are like that. They have their own realms, generally, and they're usually a lot much stronger in their realms. So he's been a longtime foe of Doctor Strange in the comics, and really powerful, but we could say maybe he's sending an avatar to Earth to be the protector for the supernatural teams. And he could just be some really strong tank or something like that, and he burns people with mystical fire. He's just really powerful. Do what you will with him. The ideas are limitless, but I think Dormammu could be interesting legendary. And the next one would be Nightmare. Nightmare is also a longtime foe of Doctor Strange. I think he's also a pretty longtime foe of Silver Surfer as well. you know, maybe he summons, you know, images of himself from the realm, the Nightmare Realm, because if like all of Earth's wiped out, maybe Ultimus's mind control stops people from dreaming, right? And so he can't do his business in the dreams. So whatever the case may be, he decides to join Supernatural team in fighting up, and you know, he could have powers of psychosis, once again making other teammates attack each other, something like that, or maybe if they use their special or ultimate abilities, it does some big damage to them. Something that helps manipulate the other team. That's kind of up his alley. He's not pure raw power. He's very powerful, especially in his own realm, but so you don't want to overpower him too much. But I think he'd make a good like controller, really good controller character, right? And finally, this one's gonna be a little more esoteric, and I'm gonna say Sidorak. All right, now Sidorak, for those of you in the comics knows, he is a super powerful entity. Of the three I listed, he's probably the most powerful, especially in his own realm, and he's actually the person who gives Juggernaut his power. So my idea for Sidorak would be something like use Juggernaut to give him a new tag of some kind, like Sidorak tag or Crimson Gem, put him on Supernatural team, and if he takes like 2 turns, or maybe there could be a turn, like a charge mechanic for the other Supernatural if they use a mystical ability or whatever, that after a certain amount, they summon Sidorak, who comes in as a freaking battering ram, you know, and starts just crushing people for a turn or two. I think that'd be really cool and really thematic. And because Sidorak has gotten involved with some conflicts here on Earth, mostly for his own amusement, but, you know, it is what it is. He could also empower Juggernaut, too, make him super beefy, keep the taunt permanent or something, so you actually have to get through him with all the buffs or something. I don't know, but a lot of choices there. He could make everyone Juggernaut. That'd be really cool, right? He could give them all a fraction of his power and just super amp everybody up. Whatever the case may be, I think it'd be a really fun mechanic and something that the Supernatural team could really use, because they are like just one component shy of being good. Ghost Rider is cool. He's a lot like Graviton. He's like a mini legendary on his own team. It's almost enough, but it's just not quite there. They are missing something. So I think a lot of these characters could help bring something to the table to make them good. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Were these choices of anything that might interest you? Did I leave anybody out? I thought about including some other characters like Megan. She's a shapeshifter. Mandarin, but his rings are alien, so it's not really mystical, but they seem kind of mystical when he uses them, right? And there's tons of other, you know, Man-Wolf. You know, the list is endless. I mean, you can technically even put Moon Knight on there, right? He's a mystical thing from Khonshu, the moon god, for him. So whatever the case may be, yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below. If you had any other choices you would have picked, and until next time, this is Genome, just continuing the speculation game. Out.